All right, let's go. Number 5, the quantum afterlife. In 2007, scientist Robert Lanza published a theory that disturbed biologists and physicists in equal measure. He proposed biocentrism, the idea that consciousness is not a byproduct of the universe, but its foundation. Life does not arise from matter. Matter arises from life. The observer does not exist inside reality. Reality exists inside the observer. His theory, built on decades of quantum mechanics and the measurement problem, suggested that death is a construct of the mind, not a feature of the universe. In quantum mechanics, particles do not exist in definite states until observed. Lanza extended this to its full conclusion. If reality requires consciousness to exist, then consciousness cannot end. There is no universe without an observer. And if the observer is necessary, the observer does not stop, it transitions, it relocates, but it does not cease. What makes this theory particularly unsettling is how directly it targets the one thing we all assume. We assume consciousness is generated by the brain. We assume that when the brain dies, the lights go out. Lanza's framework inverts this completely. The brain does not produce consciousness. It receives it the way a radio receives a signal. Destroying the radio does not destroy the broadcast. It only destroys one point of reception. You have spent your entire life assuming that death is the end, that the final heartbeat is followed by nothing, that awareness dissolves when the chemistry stops. But if biocentrism is correct, then the chemistry was never the source. The signal persists. The receiver breaks, and somewhere in a configuration of reality you cannot currently perceive, the signal finds another receiver. The truly horrifying aspect is not that you might survive death. It is that you might have already died. If consciousness transitions between configurations of reality without interruption, then every version of death you have feared may have already occurred in branches you no longer occupy. You are always the version that survived. You are always the continuation, and you would never know the difference. Number 4, the frozen moment. In 1908, mathematician Hermann Minkowski stood before an audience of scientists and declared that space and time were no longer separate entities. They were, one, a single four-dimensional fabric he called space-time. His framework, building on Einstein's special relativity, demonstrated that time is not something that flows. It is a dimension, like length or width, and everything that has ever happened or will ever happen exists within it simultaneously. His model, now called the Bloch universe, treats time as a spatial dimension. The past is not gone. The future is not waiting. Both exist right now, laid out across the four-dimensional block-like pages in a completed manuscript. The moment of your birth, the moment of your death, and every second in between are equally real, equally present, equally fixed. Nothing is created, nothing is destroyed. The block simply is. What makes this theory particularly terrifying is what it does to death. In the Bloch universe, dying is not an ending. It is a location. Your death exists at a specific set of coordinates in space-time, the way a city exists at specific coordinates on a map. You do not travel to it and then vanish. You exist before it, during it, and the block continues beyond it. The moments of your life do not disappear when the last one arrives. They remain. Frozen. Permanent. Every laugh, every breath, every thought you have ever had is still there, still happening, still real. At its coordinates in the block. You are not approaching death. You exist alongside it. Right now, the moment of your birth is as real as this sentence. The moment of your last breath is equally real, fixed somewhere ahead in the block. You are not a traveler moving through time. You are a pattern stretched across it. The truly nightmarish aspect is the permanence. In the Bloch universe, nothing is ever lost, but nothing is ever escaped. Every moment of suffering is eternal. Every moment of joy is eternal. Your entire life sits frozen in the structure of space-time, repeating nothing, changing nothing, simply existing. Death does not free you from the block. It is part of the block. And the block does not end. Number 3, the infinite branch. In 1957, physicist Hugh Everett III proposed an interpretation of quantum mechanics that solved the measurement problem by eliminating collapse entirely. He suggested that when a quantum event has multiple possible outcomes, all of them occur. The universe splits. Each branch contains one result, one version of reality, one version of you. Nothing is discarded, nothing collapses. Everything happens. His interpretation, called many worlds, implies that every moment of your life has branched into an uncountable number of parallel timelines. In some, you turned left instead of right. In some, you were never born. And in some, critically, you did not die when you were supposed to. What makes this theory particularly chilling is what it means for mortality. If every possible outcome of every quantum event is realized, then for every scenario in which you die, there exists a branch in which you survive. A bullet misses, a disease fails to take hold. An accident is avoided by a fraction of a second. In the many worlds framework, there is always a branch where you continue, always a timeline where death did not arrive. You are not one person moving toward one death. You are an infinite set of selves, branching at every quantum event, and in the overwhelming majority of branches, some version of you is still alive. The version of you reading this is one branch among countless others, and some of those others have already passed through moments that killed you in different timelines. The truly disturbing aspect is what physicists call quantum immortality. If consciousness always follows the branch in which it survives, if your subjective experience can only continue along paths where you remain alive, then from your own perspective, you never die. Others see your death. Other branches contain your funeral, but you are never in the room for it. You are always in the branch that continues, growing older, growing further from the world you knew, watching everyone else disappear, and never understanding why you are still here. Number 2, the Boltzmann return. In 1896, physicist Ludwig Boltzmann developed the statistical mechanics of entropy, a framework that describes the universe as a system governed by probability. In his model, every arrangement of matter is temporary. Structures form, persist, and dissolve. Stars ignite and burn out. Life assembles and disassembles. Everything is a fluctuation in the probability landscape of an infinite universe. His framework, extended across infinite time, produces an implication that most physicists find deeply uncomfortable. In a universe that lasts forever, or in a multiverse of infinite configurations, every possible arrangement of matter will eventually recur, not approximately, exactly. Given enough time, the precise configuration of atoms that constitutes your body, your brain, your memories, and your consciousness will reassemble by pure statistical chance. Not once, an infinite number of times. What makes this theory particularly haunting is the patience of the math. It does not matter how improbable the configuration. In infinite time, improbable becomes inevitable. The exact arrangement of particles, that is, you, this version, with these memories, in this moment, will fluctuate back into existence in some distant future. Not a copy, not a similar pattern. You, atom for atom, synapse for synapse, thought for thought. You believe death is final. You believe this life is a one-time event, a brief flash between two eternities of nothingness. But the statistics disagree. If the universe is infinite in time or space, then the number of times your exact conscious configuration will arise is also infinite. Death is not a period. It is a pause, an immeasurably long pause, but a pause. And on the other side of it, by the blind arithmetic of probability, you begin again. The truly nightmarish aspect is that you would not know. The reassembled version of you would wake with your memories, your identity, your sense of continuity, and no awareness that trillions of years of void had passed. To you, it would feel like the next moment, death, 1 second, existence, the next, and you would never know how long the silence between them lasted. Return is guaranteed. The wait is incomprehensible, and you have no way to tell which return this one is. Number 1, the observer loop. In 1983, physicist John Wheeler proposed the participatory anthropic principle, the idea that the universe does not exist independently of observation. Consciousness does not merely witness reality, it generates it. Without an observer, the universe remains an undefined cloud of quantum probability. It takes a conscious mind to collapse the wave function, to choose one outcome from infinite possibilities, to make the abstract real. His framework, rooted in the deepest implications of quantum mechanics, leads to a conclusion about death that is more unsettling than any other on this list. If the universe requires conscious observers to exist, then consciousness is not optional. It is structural. The universe cannot afford to lose it. Every observer that has ever collapsed a wave function, every mind that has ever converted probability into reality, is not a passenger on the cosmic machine. It is a load-bearing component. What makes this theory particularly terrifying is the trap it describes. If consciousness is necessary for reality, then the universe has a vested interest in its continuation. Not your body, not your name, not your memories, your awareness, the raw, subjective fact that something is being experienced. That is what the universe needs. And if it needs it, it will not let it end. Not because it cares about you, because it cannot function without you. You are not a temporary guest in a permanent universe. You are a permanent feature of a universe that would dissolve without you. The cosmos does not grieve your death. It prevents it not by keeping your body alive, but by ensuring that awareness in some form, in some configuration, in some branch or fluctuation or recurrence continues, always, without interruption, without end. And somewhere beyond every theory on this list, beyond the quantum afterlife, the frozen block, the branching timelines, the statistical return, sits the same implication, approached from every direction, arriving at the same destination. The truly horrifying aspect is not that death might be an illusion, it is that you might already know this. Somewhere beneath your conscious mind, beneath every fear and every assumption, the universe placed a truth it never intended you to find. You cannot die, not because you are special, because reality cannot afford to let you. The loop does not break. The observer does not vanish. And the universe, for all its secrets, has never once produced a world without someone inside it to witness. That is the final secret, the one it hid deepest, the one you are not supposed to understand. You are permanent, and the universe will never let you leave. If you want to see more videos like this, click the video on screen now and make sure to subscribe.